Thanks for joining another episode of Dare to Date Me, where we dive into dating in this day and age and what a debacle it is. We have people that come in and share their stories, share the information about dating and what it's like out there right now and what it looks like and what they're going through. And like, if you can learn something and tricks of the trade here, that's really what it's about. It's informative, but it's real life informative. So today we have Barb joining us today, and Barb's going to share some information about a most recent date that she's gone on. We're going to dive into a little bit about it. Thanks for being here to talk with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So you were married.
Yes.
I had the pleasure and the honor of doing your wedding.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that immensely. It was a great party, by the way. And so now you find yourself divorced and dating.
Yes.
How are you feeling about that?
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, I can tell your facial expressions of sharing that sentiment.
Yeah, so it is not what I expected. I mean, I haven't been single in a very long time, and so everything is online now, which like back in the day was for the ugly people.
Yeah.
And so and that's not the case anymore. That's how people meet. And
It is
so,
how people meet.
Yeah, and so I decided, I was ready to get out there and try to date and meet people. And so kind of right off the bat met someone that just was super into me and really, texting me all the time, telling me how beautiful I was. And it was just overwhelming, really. I was like, oh my gosh, this person is really into me. We set up our first date and
How long? Let's back up for just a second. No, that's okay. Yeah. So on what dating site did you meet this person?
Facebook dating.
Okay. And that was your first interaction with online dating?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you meet this person, you exchange some information. How long did you speak with this person online before you took it to the next level of either exchanging phone numbers or talking on the phone?
Gosh, I don't remember. I want to say probably about a week, maybe, week or less.
All right, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
You were comfortable at that point. Okay.
Yeah.
So exchange phone numbers.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And that's when the texting started, obviously. Yeah, so
Yep.
I guess I jumped over that part from the dating app to the texting.
Right.
And so they had a business trip coming up, and they were away on their business trip. And, the chemistry was so great, all the attention and all the, now I know the term for it is love bombing.
Right.
Was unaware of that. They came home early from a business trip just to go on a date early with me, or to go on a date with me sooner rather than later. And
Okay.
I was,
Flattered.
very flattered. Yeah. And this person, seemed to have all of the check boxes, I guess,
Sure.
they're
The job.
the job,
The
the
looks.
successful, good
The
looking,
height.
tall. Yes. 'Cause I'm very tall. And also, also had information in his profile about healing and journaling, and that's a really important aspect for me. I've been on a healing journey myself, and in fact, leads to 2 years sober, and so
Which you openly share
yes,
with whoever you're meeting. So from the very beginning, this is not a fact that's hidden.
no, of course not. No,
Perfect.
Right, it's just a part of who you are.
It's part of who you are, and
It
you're
is.
open to sharing that.
Yes, and
Okay.
I put that information in my dating profile, and we talked about it over text, quite a bit. And so, we meet, we go on our date, the chemistry's great, really hitting it off, and I don't know if that leads to another date, and this person, I'm just thinking, wow, I have a boyfriend already. I just started trying this,
I just
Oh.
won the lottery.
You hit it out of the park.
Won the boy lottery. There you go.
And then, so, we did go on a couple of dates, and then I invited them to a picnic that my friends were having. It was, a Jeep group that I belonged to there was a picnic, and he at first was like, oh yeah, that'd be, great. I'm really interested in that. And then I don't know if it was the night before or the day of the picnic, he suddenly was sick, and I wasn't sick, and we had definitely swapped germs. And so, yeah,
Swap
I
and
was
spit. We
right.
get it. All right.
And so, by the time, I think, let's see. So I went to the picnic. They didn't come. they were sick, then the next day they were sick, and then the day after they were starting to feel better, but all of a sudden had these questions for me about my sobriety.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, that's actually, I'm kind of flattered that, that's
You've
an
thought about
important
it.
topic. You've thought about it. But the way the questions were leading was not, like they had Googled a bunch of stuff, I guess. And
Perplexity AI. You can find out anything that you
Right.
want to know.
right.
But I think that maybe
or ask me.
Right.
Well, that's the thing, and it's a matter of let's deflect away from me and bring this about you, because maybe it was so good, but if he met people that you knew, it was going to probably challenge his character or who he was going to be. Who knows? I mean, if you're, because the biggest thing is it's okay to be on one-on-one and have all this great stuff, but then he's got to put this on with other people that you know, and they're going to start judging him and asking questions about him, and he probably got stage fright, as it were.
Could be. I don't know. Right. And so that's just kind of the thing where it seems like it's really confusing for a man to just come on so strong and then just drop off the face of the earth, and then you feel like there's something wrong with you.
Sure.
And so
that's the first thing we do is we internalize it must be me. Mm-hmm. It must be me. It must have been something I said, I did. Right. It must be me. And in reality, oh, please.
I don't say
For
that.
the love of God.
It's not me. It's always them. It's always them.
But we internalize it, right?
Yeah.
So let's go back to the first date. So dinner? Mm-hmm. How was dinner?
It was good. Yeah.
How was conversation?
It was good. It was funny because we went someplace that I actually ended up knowing some people there. They bought us an appetizer. I thought, I didn't think he was as good looking in person as I did in his pictures. And I don't think maybe he used a filter. I don't know. It wasn't that far off. But so it took me a little bit to kind of warm up to him, because at first I was like, I'm just a little disappointed. But then.
Well, so I'm just going to jump in because you know that I cannot hold back. I'm so glad you said that, because I am also.
What the hell?
I know this person. I'm going to call him John Doe. Okay?
John Doe, yeah, sure.
We're going to refer to this man as John Doe. Yeah. And I was like surprised that was who you picked to go out with, because I was like, I know who this girl dates. And okay, all right, we're going to go with it.
Well, why were you surprised? What about him?
I did not see the two of you together.
Oh.
Just because.
Well, clearly they're not.
Right. Yeah. Good insight there.
Right. Compatibility, physical features, did not feel he was what you normally dated.
I don't feel like I have a type, really.
Well, I was thinking you were exploring what your type could be. So
Yes.
I was in full support of that.
Right.
I will tell you, I was in full support of that. And again, it's just someone that I know through a bunch of different forums and things like that. But I was like, okay, all right, we're going to be fully supportive as a friend, right? And I was like, can't wait to get the follow-up on this.
Well, so I wasn't looking for, I'm not the type that really looks for looks. I'm looking for, are they compatible? Are they spiritual? Are they,
Right.
do they?
And that's what I was hoping you were
Yeah.
going to come back to me with when I messaged you and said, hey, how was the date with John Doe?
Right.
Right? How was it? And your first response was, it was amazing. Had a great time going to see him again.
Yeah,
So then the Jeep date didn't happen.
didn't happen.
Right. And now where are you at?
Well, after the, intense love bombing and then the kind of dropping off, which he used the, whether it was an excuse or true, who knows, that he was sick. That led to conversations of, him asking more questions in detail about my sobriety based on shit he had Googled. And
Because everything is there.
right. And from there, he just seemed very wishy-washy about whether he wanted to date me again. And I was like, well, forget it then. Like, if the answer isn't immediately, hell yes, I want to see you again, then I don't
Right.
want to see you
Well,
again.
that's the thing. And you're
Right.
comfortable with who you are. You've gone through your struggles to be who
Right.
you are, and you're very comfortable with where you're at. I just find it hilarious that it's called love bombing, because, again, that's another one of these terms that I'm still trying to figure this shit out. And it's like, how do these people do these things? It's like they want to make you feel like they're this big knight in shining armor, and then something scares you off. Like, that's such a simple thing.
Well, So what I've learned in hindsight, love bombing is a red flag. I didn't realize that, I'm
Did
brand
you
new.
see any of the red flags prior?
No. And but I'm kind of out of practice, so
Right.
I'm new to this whole dating world. And so
I'm new to the whole red flag, green flag, it's
Love bombing.
love
Yeah.
bombing, situationships, friends with Benny. Like friends with Benny's, I
Well,
get.
yeah.
Totally,
I know, but
trust me.
it wasn't
But-
for that long that they were how fast do these flags pop up? It's not like that you're throwing a body in the water and a flag comes up. It means they were only like for a week or two.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, how do we identify them? So going forward, how are you going to identify them?
Well, so going forward, what I'm going to do is, like, if somebody comes on really strong like that, I'm going to ask, like, okay, how well do they know me? Have they taken the time to invest knowing who I actually am, that I'm deserving of all this love and attention that they're showering me with?
Right.
So if they're showering me with that much attention and affection, which, yeah, felt great,
Right.
but there's no foundation for it, then that to me is now going to be a warning sign, which wasn't before.
So you're looking
So-
for more now. You're looking for foundation baselines to grow from.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, I want to be friends with somebody. I think that's what's most important, friendship, compatibility, other things like that will hopefully,
Reliability.
yeah. Really.
Chemistry is a huge thing. Sexual chemistry is a huge thing. I mean, nobody can deny it. It's either there or it's not there.
Right.
Obviously, it was there with you and John Doe.
Right.
So you had a great time, you enjoyed each other, and then all of this kind of fell out afterwards.
Right.
Are you okay with putting your intentions out there with the next person that comes along?
Yes, I put my intentions out there pretty much 100% of the time with everybody that knows me. So yeah.
I get it, right? Like, put yourself out there, make itself known. This is what's going to happen.
Yes. And, the other thing is to, I'm not afraid to be myself and afraid to be authentic all the time. And I think that also can scare people a little bit. I don't play the games of, I'm going to try to fit into the mold that I used to do that. That was,
Yes.
that was drunk Barbara. And so, a lot of the things that have come with my sobriety are, self-love and, not being that person anymore. I'm fulfilled within myself, and I want that in someone else as well.
I love that. I love that for you. I've known you for years, and I love that for you. I love the realization that you know your self-worth.
Yes.
I think that what we need to try to bring out, because I've always said that I'm very secure with who I am, and you're becoming more secure with who you are, is that 98% of the world is not secure.
Right.
Not my problem. But then it is, because a majority of people are very insecure. They're very unknowing of who they are. They have no inner self-awareness. And so maybe the more that we keep talking about things, maybe we might start making that 98% less and less and less and get more real, secure, honest people out there, because they're going to have that self-awareness and start realizing that they're worth it.
Well, Max, you're talking about healing the world. I don't know that we're going to do that.
I'm talking about kumbaya. I'm just talking about
I'm like, I don't think we
a
can
little
do
bit-
that in a day.
a little bit at a time. Just let people realize
Right.
that they have self-value and be aware of who you are and make it worthwhile instead of
Right.
being so insecure about everything and just like this guy did. He did a whole scenario of things. He probably does that every time he goes on a date. It's throwing dice.
Right. And who knows what he's actually looking for, if he's looking for authentic connection or if he's
Right.
just looking for the thrill of the
Right.
new relationship and all that excitement. Who knows? I mean,
Right.
that's not my problem.
Right.
But back to, what you said, I think it's one, yes, being open and honest and authentic and hopefully being an example for other people. But then also learning how to navigate and weed out the people that just
Exactly,
aren't
yeah.
ever going to.
And that's it.
To
And
change,
then
yeah.
eventually more and
feel-
more people will find the right people.
Do you feel you're gun shy now on the love bombing since you've gone through it?
And not good. I like attention and affection. I love all of that. I just, I'm going to be more mindful of, okay, is there a foundation for this? Does this person, do they get to love bomb me?
Right. That's
Do
a great
they-
way of looking
yeah,
at it.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give a woman who was in your situation, met someone online, was so excited to go out with this person because you were excited to spend time with this person. And then looking back on it, you're like, maybe not so much.
Not so much. Yeah.
Right? So, what's the best piece of advice you can give to anyone listening today on the show?
Yeah, I would say really the best piece of advice is to, watch for those, red flags, watch for somebody that, is maybe going to try to gaslight you, make it look like it's your fault that they're not into you anymore, and really put your self-worth first,
love
like
that.
not, am I good enough for him? Does he deserve me?
Right.
Be the bigger person, be the one that, do they deserve you?
Exactly.
So-
I think that's the biggest point.
That's I love that. Well, thanks for sharing your story today and joining us on Dare to Date Me.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right.
Bye.